our monster variant of the podcast is the Remnant Oozeling. The origin, you're going to start with the stat block of the Minotaur, because we like to give you guys, most of the hard work done for you with the CR and everything, right? You're going to lose sight, language, and its great axe. We're going to give it some new features. Damage resistance to acid, cold, and fire, because, it's an ooze and shit. We're going to give it immunities to blind, charmed, and deafened. And we're going to give it blind sight out to 60 feet, which means it's blind beyond this radius. We're, of course, going to give it the amorphous ooze ability that... so long as the ooze doesn't have any bones engulfed, it can move through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide without squeezing. But Justin, that's weird. What do you mean bones? Well, let's get into that in a second. We're going to give it a bloodied condition, which means when the ooze has less than half of its hit points, it compresses and releases any bones that it may have in an explosive barrage. Each creature in a 15-foot radius cone or sphere around the ooze must make a dex save or take 66... I put piercing. That probably could be better bludgeoning or piercing, depending on how you want to roll with it.
Yeah.
On a failed save or half as much on a successful one. The creature then abandons the bones and attempts to escape until it finds a suitable replacement. So what are we going to do? We're going to give it the shape changer on top of that. So now that it explodes, it also can change shape. So the Remnant Ooze can shape and change its form by engulfing a set of creatures' bones that is large or smaller. The process takes 1d4 hours, depending on the size and how much of the corpse flesh remains that needs to be dissolved. Upon completion of taking the new form of the bones, the ooze takes the general form and features of the bones. This is its strength, dex, and hit points are all the same as the engulfed creature. Additionally, it gains any physical features the bones may have possessed before being consumed. The ooze's slam damage is reflected by the shape of the bones consumed. The damage die is 1d6 for small creatures and increases by an additional d6 for every size beyond that. Sorry, there's a lot here.
Up to large.
Up to large.
Yeah.
We're also going to give it corrode metal because it corrodes shit. That's what it's going to do, which means it's going to give penalties to weapons and armor, which can destroy it. And the ooze can eat through 4 inches thick of non-magical metal in 1 round. Now, we're also going to give it the slam, which I promise is the last ability. We're going to give it the slam, which means it does bludgeoning damage plus acid damage. You can get the stat block for this on our Patreon page if you want the whole thing, or on our show notes on our website. And the target, if the target is wearing metal armor, its armor is partly corroded, which then deals a cumulative -1 to its AC. If the armor penalty is reduced to AC of 10, it is destroyed, per a lot of the oozes to begin with. That's a lot to unpack. So I have to ask, Phil, what do you think about this Remnant Oozeling?
Other than it being a 5-page stat block, no, it's... Now, this thing can be... this is something you set up in a dungeon way ahead of time, and this is something that you introduce to them as possibly an NPC that you can then start to... Then they'll start to sort of see things happen with that shape change, right?
Yeah.
That, they touch you and it sort of stings a little bit with the burn or things like that, and start introducing parts of its abilities to them, and then bang, explodes with bones in the middle of the party.
I'd love to hear what do you think, Brandon?
I can see the DM being a total dick with this creature.
Yeah.
And that is that what was it? Its ability where it can squeeze through anything to try to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What if it's trying to squeeze through the dirt and stuff and trying to figure out how to get out, and it just so happens to stumble upon
bones?
Tarrasque bones.
Well, it's got up to large.
Oh, up to large. Okay.
So maybe it'll just be the Tarrasque head. I don't know. So the thing I really liked about this is,
Waka, waka, waka.
honestly, I can't take credit for this idea. In the Mistborn series, they have oozlings that consume bones and shape change. They're Contras, I think. I took this idea from that because I love the idea of having a well-defined enemy that won't stay and fight to the end, but when it comes back, it can be the same monster but clearly be stronger, and that to me is really intriguing. Because it's one of the few. I don't know that there's very few monsters that actually says it will run away. I don't know if you can think of any, Phil, but
Yep, Candra's and Mysteries.
Yeah.
so this definitely. And plus, if they do fight it, it exploding in their face is a surprise nobody will expect, and then it can escape through a 1-inch narrow passage. Means it can really get away consistently. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
How about users in our chat? How to Horror. Murder mystery where the culprit is a changeling, 4th level assassin, 4th level gloomstalker with alert and either mobile or sharpshooter feats, and expertise in stealth and deception, wearing glamored studded leather. Anybody could be the killer.
We want to reiterate, we want to scare the player characters, not necessarily kill them.
Yep.
And that sounds like they're gonna die. That's what that sounds like.
Somebody is.
Or maybe one of the players is already dead and has been replaced by this thing. God, that's good.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, so that'll do it for our monster
That-
variant, the Remnant Oozeling.
That's where note passing can come in play.
Right.